Welcome to episode 8 of the Libby Shaw Show podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about how the job market is absolutely fried. It has been fried for several months now, as I'm sure you all know. But there's a few specific things that are honestly like, what the actual fuck, that make absolutely zero sense, or are just plain offensive. I'll start by talking about the small things and then I'll move on to the biggest issues with the job market. So starting with a smaller issue is employers who think that they can dictate to you what you wear to work. Now I'm talking about the situations where you're not even facing customers, yet your managers act like you must dress a certain way or it's the absolute end of the world. Can someone please explain to me how what I wear affects how I do a job, when if you work from home, you can wear whatever you want and nobody even comments? Exactly. What you wear has absolutely no bearing on how you do a job. The only thing that employers should actually care about is your actual performance. But instead they just waste time caring about what you wear, when it really doesn't even come close to affecting your performance. Know what does affect your performance though? Being comfortable and feeling respected by your employer. That has the ability to affect how you do your job. But of course, a lot of employers won't focus on the things that actually matter. Instead, they'd rather focus on meaningless crap. And that brings me to another issue with the job market. And that is, of course, companies removing the ability to work hybrid. If you don't let your staff work at least some of the time from home, you're saying two things. One, you don't trust your employees. And two, you don't value their personal time or money. With technological advancements in software programs such as Teams and Zoom, there's absolutely no reason to actually go into an office. And most people work better from home without a manager constantly breathing down their neck and monitoring their every move. Nobody likes to have a micromanager. And the fact is, if you're forced to work in an office, that's exactly what you have. Then you have to deal with office politics, which can be extremely frustrating, especially if you're the type of person who just likes to get on with a job without constant monitoring and harassment. Constant monitoring, as I've said, indicates you don't trust your staff, which prompts the question, why hire them in the first place if you don't trust them? It seems kind of counterintuitive to me. Now moving on to point 2. If you won't allow your staff to work from home at least some of the time, then you also don't respect their time or money. Most people spend 1 to 2 hours commuting each day, and that adds up to 5 to 10 extra hours a week, or 500 hours a year. Now, that's 5 to 10 hours a week that you can't do the things that you want to, and that you're wasting in traffic or on public transport. Then there's the cost involved in working in an office. Of course, there's the cost of transport, whether it's private or public, and that can equate to $50 to $200 a week. Although, with the way fuel prices are right now, it may be even higher. Then there's other costs to working in an office that you don't have if you work from home. You have the cost of eating out, which could be $20 a day in Sydney, and that's probably on the low end. So that adds up to $100 per week. So basically, to work in an office as opposed to working from home, you're actually losing around $100 to $300 per week simply because your employer doesn't trust you. The COVID pandemic, although the reactions were over the top, proved that employees are perfectly capable of working from home and that good employees do not need constant monitoring. Constant monitoring can actually worsen your performance and lead to you feeling on edge whenever you go into work because you constantly feel like you're under the microscope. How is that good to anyone? The simple answer is that it isn't, and it can actually damage the relationship between the employer and the employee. Just because employees had to go into the office before the COVID pandemic doesn't mean they should have to now. The simple fact is, times have changed, and employees expect flexibility. You can still monitor performance. The expectations remain the same. Work is a task, it's not a location. The final issue with the job market right now is the rise of AI. The only people who actually like AI are tech bros who are too lazy and unskilled in writing and other creative pursuits. The biggest issue with AI is that it cannot replace human experience, and it's actually taking jobs away from people who actually enjoy things like writing and similar. Writing and other creative pursuits have never been valued or appreciated, but these things are essential. And it's ethically wrong that it's being used to decimate an industry that was once thriving. And it just leads to, the same type of crap being repeated over and over again. Instead of reading different things on 10 different websites, there's only, one version, and that's supposedly, inverted commas, the truth. And, this might sound like the modern version of when computers first came out and started dominating the world in the late 90s and early 2000s, but it's actually quite different. I mean, computers have made life so much easier, and there's so many things that we can do on computers now, that we couldn't previously do. But AI isn't the same. It sounds robotic because that's exactly what it is. It is a robot, and it's wrong that robots are replacing humans. So my big question is, when all the jobs are taken by AI, who's actually going to buy products and services if nobody has money? Who's going to pay taxes? Who's going to pay to exist if you don't have any money? I don't think people have thought about the long-term consequences of AI. A lot of people in the creative fields are already having to diversify, but people also need to make a living. And that's impossible when there's just no jobs to go around because AI has taken all of them. So my final comment in closing is this: leave the creativity to those of us who actually enjoy it, and start valuing human experience again. Technology cannot replace humanity, but a lot of these tech bros, as I've previously talked about, just don't understand that. Thank you for tuning in to episode 8 of the Libby Shaw Show podcast. See you next time.